All right. Hello there, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today here for a live Top Producer webinar. We're going to get started in just a moment here, so thanks for your patience. All right, guys. Thanks again for waiting. So today this is going to be getting started with Top Producer X. We're your host, Spencer and Dan. So this is a good show for getting started with Top Producer X CRM, especially if you are a brand new user. And we're going to walk you through all the essentials of what you should know to get started and point you in the right direction to learn more as well. So just to reiterate, very much kind of a new Top Producer X user show. If you are an existing Top Producer 8i customer that would like to learn more about transitioning from the old version to the new version, just please note that we actually do have a separate show specifically for that, which we can link you to the latest recording if you like. So just let us know in the chat. But otherwise, if you are making the switch over and you want to learn about TPX and make sure you're good to go, it's, like I said, worth watching anyway. So good to have you guys here today. Quick introduction. My name is Spencer. I'm with our customer success team here at Top Producer, and I take care of a lot of onboarding, coaching, and weekly webinars and that kind of thing. And then I am, or I should say, I have been with Top Producer for over 2.5 years at this point. So good to be here with you guys today. I'm just going to pass it over to my friend and colleague Dan as well.
Thanks, Spencer. Hey, good morning, guys. Chantal, Renee, good morning. Nice to see you guys here on our show. I'm Dan Salcedo. I've been with the company for over 12 years now. I am the current customer care training specialist. So I help make sure that we are giving you the right information and we're making sure that we're responding to your inquiries right away. So hopefully that experience of 12 years will help me answer your questions on chat. Definitely feel free to ask as many questions as you want to make sure that your Top Producer X is set up for success and set up the way you want it to be set up for your business. So looking forward to the content for today.
Awesome, guys. Well, without further ado, just want to also point out here that in case you weren't aware, all Top Producer webinars are interactive. So all you have to do is use that chat button here on Zoom and you can interact with us during the show. So if you have any questions along the way, any comments, or you just want to say hi or something, feel free to reach out. If you want to let us know where you're coming from today, where you do real estate at, that kind of thing, maybe even how long you've been using Top Producer for, whether it's a matter of hours, days, weeks, months, or years, be happy to hear from you guys. But if you need some help after the show today, just keep in mind you can reach out to our customer care team during our business hours through the live chat. It's available in the bottom right corner of any Top Producer product. So that's Monday to Friday from 7:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time. It's also available on topproducer.com/campus, our support site. You can use it there. You don't even have to be logged in or anything. You can just jump right into live chat if you need to. You can also email us at support@topproducer.com. And as for the plan for the show today, we're going to take you through, getting logged in for the very first time. Of course, if you're a brand new user watching, we want to make sure that you can get logged into your CRM. And then we're going to go through some quick basics of using the sales pipeline, which means, categorizing your contacts to make sure that you have your database organized. We're then going to talk about some key setup points for Top Producer X. So just kind of go through some of the core settings and make sure that you kind of understand what they're for and sort of like why you'd want to set them up and then how to tailor it to yourself, your business, your email, your MLS integration, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll talk about the follow-up coach, which is a great tool you can use not only as a new user, but just every single day in general if you want to, because it's going to help you clean up your database. It's going to help you focus on 5 contacts at a time. It's going to help you make sure no one slips through the cracks. And so it's one of my favorite features, and we'll show you that at the end to kind of cap things off. So if you are a brand new Top Producer user, this one is for you. We want to make sure that you can get logged into Top Producer for the first time. And then we'll talk about, like I said, some sales pipeline basics before we move on to the settings. So here's a quick little demo coming up for you guys. So if you are new, just please pay attention to this next one coming up in just a sec here. Because this is a little demo of how you'd get logged in for the first time. In case you're not aware, you should have received an email called Activate Your New Top Producer Account. And within that email, you'll have your login credentials. And, just want to note those down somewhere safe. And copy and paste them maybe. But if you are just doing it manually, just typing it, make sure you do note that they usually have a dot or period in between the first and last name there. Password is case sensitive. Your username is not. If you need to change your password at any point, whether you just feel like changing it or you forgot it, you can use that same forgot password feature from the login screen there, and you'll be good to go. It'll send you an email. But for now, let's just go ahead and focus on getting logged in. And guys, right when we log in for the very first time, it's gonna bring us to the subscriber agreement screen. So in case anyone is not really sure what this is about, this is just the standard end user license agreement for all Top Producer products. And what that entails is, it's sort of in a basic format, if you will, is a 1-year term commitment to the Top Producer subscription. You do have the first 30 days, however, in case you change your mind, you need to opt out for whatever reason, just do let us know in those first 30 days. But that being said, we have tons of resources available to help make sure that you are comfortable going into that 1-year term. And we want to make sure that you have what you need in order to be successful at TPX and just make it a part of your business that you use every single day, right? And so, this is talked about at the point of sale. It's talked about in your order confirmation email. It's just sort of publicly available online as well. So it's not something that's hidden by any means. Think of this as just one last reminder about that subscriber agreement. So what we're going to do next is click on the acknowledgement slider there and then hit next. And then after that, guys, it's going to bring us to the My Information page or the first time setup. And so this is very much just your CRM's profile page for you. You can fill out as much or as little information as you want right now, but highly recommended that you just come back later, save yourself the time. Maybe at least set your time zone at the very bottom there before clicking on Save My Info. Like I said, you can come back to this screen anytime, no big rush in most cases. And it's worth noting that the information there is going to be used on your market snapshot reports if you are a market snapshot subscriber. So if you signed up for the Top Producer Professional bundle, not just the CRM on its own, but also market snapshot, then it will be a little bit more vital sooner than later to fill out that profile information, because it's going to be used as a branding on your market snapshot reports that you send out. So of course you want that to represent you in the best way possible with your picture, company logo, social media links, contact information accurately, right? All that kind of stuff. So after that, it's gonna welcome us to Top Producer X, and it's gonna ask about contacts. And now there's two options here: import contacts and add contacts. We're gonna actually go ahead and click on add contact, just to walk through together what it would be like to add a singular contact. It just needs one in the database, and then it's gonna stop kind of nagging you to import contacts. Not everyone's ready to import contacts right away anyway. Some people are still exporting from their previous system or cleaning up their spreadsheet or what have you, right? So we're going to walk through the basics of just adding a contact, and it's going to give us an opportunity to talk about some really key points anyway, such as how to categorize your contacts. So guys, jumping into Top Producer X here. And just a reminder, if you are a Top Producer 8i user, or so an existing user of the older version, and you want to jump into TPX, there's two ways to do that. One is you can just click the TPX button across the top menu bar in Top Producer 8i, and that'll just log you right in. You don't even need to enter your password or username again or anything. Or you can go to crm.topproducer.com, which, just in case, I will put it in the chat there for you guys, just in case. All right, folks. So what we're going to do is walk through adding sort of like a imaginary contact. And just a disclaimer, everyone that you're seeing here today is make-believe. So these are all randomly generated contacts. If you see any thing that it resembles, the likelihood of someone, or then it's just a coincidence, basically. So let's go ahead and add a contact in here. And we always like to think of different examples every time, just to kind of make it relatable. So let's say in this case, we are going to go ahead and add a newer lead that we just started speaking with maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that, right? Maybe they're a first-time home buyer. and they're reaching out for some help. And, we're trying to guide them through that process. And, of course, we want to get them into our CRM as soon as possible so that we can manage and nurture that relationship, all the follow-up needed. And then, hopefully if we get that to the transaction phase, that we get to manage that transaction through the use of Top Producer X as well, right? So let me just pull a random name out of the hat as usual. Let's go with Thomas Jones. So let's say Thomas here is a buyer, as mentioned. We'd want to go and fill out whatever information we have available for him at this time. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of put a fake number in there for now. We can add additional phone numbers if we need to. So add another phone and it lets us label it. Same with emails. You can add an email, and additional emails is pretty much, I think it's up to 8 if you need to. There's also website links where you can add anything that's any web pages of theirs, their personal web page, business page, Facebook profile page, Instagram profile page, whatever you want to link there, you definitely can, and then you can label it appropriately. If we scroll down, we have the address area where we can add the contact's primary address. It's up to you if you want to add it right away. There is actually a dedicated properties area after you create the contact anyway, where you can add whatever you need. It's got more detail there too. So this is just a basic add their address in right away sort of thing. And then you can add more specifics after, like in primary, mailing, investment, all that kind of stuff, previously owned, But what I want to talk about here the most, guys, is contact status and contact types, because these are two absolutely essential things for Top Producer CRM usage. So if you're a brand new user watching, I guess one of the biggest things I want to instill in you today is that from the get-go, there should be an emphasis on being really diligent about the way you are tagging your contacts and categorizing your contacts. If you're an existing Top Producer user, you've been with us for a long time, just maybe this could be a good reminder, as well. So starting with contact status, guys, because this is kind of the simpler one of the two, or the sort of more, built-in one of the two. And this is just sort of your sales pipeline. So you have new, engage, future, active, closed. You also have inactive and non-client, just in case, but primarily you're going to be using those 5 main statuses because generally anyone in your real estate business can fall into one of those 5 main statuses in some way. And so starting with new, as it says, should be contacted right away. This one might seem obvious, but not always actually, because this is just for that brand new lead, the person that just made that online inquiry on Zillow, Realtor.com, or maybe even just your website, and they've just landed in your CRM, and they only should stay there until you follow up with them. And then the idea would be to move them over to engage, which is followed up but not yet qualified. And so that's that kind of, getting to know them phase, their needs, their, whether they're a cold lead, a hot lead, that kind of thing, so that you can move them to either future or active, depending, and then from active to closed. And Dan?
Yeah, I had a question. So let's say I'm a realtor and I have a husband and a wife, right? 2 partners, so spouses. What should I set as a status for one of them if I don't want to market to that other person?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what I would recommend is, setting your first, like your main point of contact to the appropriate status. So let's say you're under contract with a buyer. Let's say we're going to say Thomas is not a new buyer. We're going to skip ahead a little bit into the transaction process here and say he's an active buyer, right? So, we'd want to be tagging him with contact types like buyer under contract. He's an active all the way up until he isn't, right? Until he's in closed, because we know we're going to close with him, right? And then, so when we're creating a spouse contact, which we'll get to soon, I can't show it on the screen because it's on the next screen, but there's a relationships feature that we just added, and that will default to actually non-client. So that way, that spouse contact that you may not be talking to directly all the time, or you're just including in conversation, but you're not, sometimes you just need that one central place to focus on. I'd much rather suggest that you have all your documentation on the one main contact instead of scattered around across the spouses, right? And so that's exactly why any new relationship contact will be set to non-client. But yeah, we'll get there soon, guys, to show you that.
That did come up recently with a customer. And yeah, non-client as a status is just one of those where if you don't want to market to both people, right? You want to kind of keep it central to one. You can set one of them as non-client, so you can just focus on one of them to, track all the correspondence, right?
Yeah, because you may have noticed you can only add one name at the top here. That's on purpose. That's because of a recent change. And so you just want to enter your main point of contact here. And then don't worry, you can add the spouse and whatever other related contacts almost immediately after the screen here. So not to worry. But in terms of these pipeline stages, guys, new should be moved almost immediately over to engage. And then from engage, like I said, you're getting to know what they need, what they're looking for, what their financial situation is like, what the market is like, all that kind of stuff. And then you move them accordingly to either future for long-term opportunity or to active for current opportunity, and closed for that completed transaction. And then as you move your contacts through the sales pipeline, best to keep them up to date with different contact types. So in this case, we have our buyer under contract. Maybe they're looking for a condo, right? We could say condo buyer as well and just get more specific. It's just going to give you that much more control, power over your sales pipeline here, right? And, maybe you can get more abstract with this as well. It doesn't have to be just real estate stuff. You can really use this for whatever you want, guys. So, for example, if you happen to know that this specific person is a sports fan, right? Or like maybe even like a football fan, right? And I guess we're talking American football here, I guess, but football fan, right? And then, anything that you want to add along the way that you think is going to be beneficial to not just the direct, lead conversion and transaction phase, but maybe just for maintaining relationships along the way, right? Maybe you get some extra tickets to a football game and you want to advertise into these clients of yours. You can definitely do that as well, right? So highly recommend you to just take a few seconds or a minute to really thoroughly use your contact types along with your statuses, because you'd be surprised what you can pull off with these things. So we're going to go ahead and go with that example. We can also set buyer preferences here. Just as an example, just going to do this quickly, and a lead source. So let's say this one was from an open house, just as an example. We're going to go ahead and save that contact, guys. And there we go. We have a brand new contact, complete with different colorful contact types that I've added. And so on the left side, we have Thomas's basic information. Down the middle, we have the different tabs we can use to navigate throughout the contact record. And then on the right side, we have whatever page we're on. So you're going to see this dashboard by default, guys. You can navigate if you want to send an email, it's right there. If you want to set an anniversary reminder, it's right there, right? If you want to check or add notes, it's right there. And so everything is just a click away in the contact record. Highly recommend that you just take your time, especially if you're new, to sort of explore it, make your way down the different sections. And if you want to learn more about something, you might notice that there's these little question mark buttons scattered around. Perfect opportunity to learn more. Just click on those, and you're going to be brought to a dedicated article, in this case for important dates, with a video and everything. And so this is a great starting point. You can learn about these features one at a time, break it down, focus on the ones that are kind of most important to you at the time, maybe, but then, let it all come together in the end and work for you, right? So, so if you want to learn more about the contact record, guys, please don't hesitate to use those question mark buttons as a great starting point. And then head over to our live chat in the bottom right corner if you have any more particular questions, and we can help you out. But yeah, in terms of contact record, guys, that's kind of the basics. But then what we're going to do now is just really quickly show you what Dan was talking about in relationships. So let's say I just added Thomas. I want to add his wife, Janet, as well, right? I'm going to go, let me just move this on my screen for a sec so you can see, in case Zoom is blocking it. But I'm going to go ahead and add a relationship in the top right corner. And then what I can do is create a new contact and just say this is Janet. Maybe that's all I need to enter for her, besides like a phone number or an email or something, right? And then as you can see, defaulting to non-client there, that's going to keep it out of the way of your sales pipeline. You're not going to market to both of them separately, by mistake if you didn't mean to. And then I'm going to go ahead and save that contact. But one quick recommendation here, guys, before you save that contact, I'd recommend tagging them with the contact type as well. It doesn't have to be as elaborate as the main contact, but maybe just spouse. Just keep it simple, right? And then save that contact. And then the relationship is spouse, save relationship. So just like that, there's Janet. She's saved as a spouse. I can click on her, go to her record individually. I can jump back and forth as many times as I want here. How many times do I have to click it, Dan, before it breaks? I'm just kidding. It probably won't. So, so yeah, that's how that's done. Feel free to go crazy with that, guys. Add their sons, add the dog in there, add the landlord in there if they're a renter. Whatever you need to do, you can go ahead and do that. But Dan, what would you add the dog as? Would you say friend or would you say sibling?
The dog, I would probably say child.
Child. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Yeah. I feel bad I didn't think of that. But all right, folks. So we're gonna move on to our second point now, which
is there an option that says boss or
boss? Yeah. Yeah. That would be for exclusively for cats.
Oh, right. That's true. Emperor.
Emperor, yeah. Maybe someday we'll add a custom relationship thing so you can play around with that and have fun as well.
Yeah.
But for now, guys, we're going to go on to the second point, which is creating a solid foundation for success with GPX by learning about some vital settings first. And so we're going to walk you through some of the essentials for getting your Top Producer X really up and running. Because more than anything, guys, just to reiterate, this is sort of a getting started show. You want to make sure that you can then jump into some of the day-to-day activities after the show, right? In order to do that, we need to head down to the settings in the bottom left corner. And right off the bat, it's going to land us on the My Information page. So earlier, I mentioned you can come back and edit your profile settings and information anytime you want to. This is exactly what I meant. You can click on Edit My Info at the bottom. And then you can change all this here anytime. So once again, guys, just a reminder, if you are a Market Snapshot subscriber as part of the Top Producer CRM Professional Bundle, you'll definitely want to fill this out sooner than later. So it will be used for the branding on your snapshot reports. And then save your info at the bottom. And Dan?
Yeah, and I just wanted to let you guys know I'm sharing a link in our chat for an article that goes through all the different tabs in the settings page. Just so you guys can have a reference point in case we're going too fast today, especially because we might not be able to go into detail into each one, right? It's just more of to just get you guys started, and we don't want to overwhelm you guys with too much information.
Yeah, that's a good share actually, Dan, because as you guys can see on the screen here, it literally has everything there and it breaks it down in just a very simple way. And then if you want to learn more, you can definitely dive in and learn more as well.
Yeah, and chat with us if anything doesn't make sense or you want us to walk you through even more.
Yeah, this is definitely not your only chance to learn about Top Producer X, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we're going to head down next to the calendar sync option. Calendar sync, really advantageous feature. It's going to let you integrate your existing calendar with Top Producer CRM. And the biggest advantage of that, guys, is, let's say you're in the CRM, you schedule that appointment or that open house that's coming up. You don't want to miss that, right? And so if you add it on your Top Producer calendar as an appointment, it's going to synchronize to your Google calendar, your Outlook calendar, your iCloud calendar, whichever one that you use day to day and you've integrated here. It's going to keep that up to date. And anything from that calendar that has a time on it, it's going to synchronize into your Top Producer as well. And so, TPX does have its very own fully fledged task management system that really should be used day in and day out to stay on top of your real estate specific tasks, even if it's just like doing some cold calls or some follow-ups or whatever, right? But then in terms of those really time sensitive things, that's exactly where CalendarSync comes in handy, because you're making use of technology that you've probably used for years already. I know I've used Google Calendar for years. It would make sense for me to integrate that one, right? And so all you have to do here is just fill in your address and follow a few steps. You click on authorize. If you're a Google user, for example, like myself, it's going to take you through that standard Google login screen. If you see it asking for any permissions, just please make sure everything is checked off or ticked off there before clicking continue. It's going to bring you on to step 2 after that, and it's going to ask you to choose a calendar from your email account, so calendar category. So just choose the one that makes most sense for you, the one that you are most often saving your appointments on, and feel free to click on the Start Sync button after that, which we'll see hopefully in just a second here. There we go. And that's going to start the sync process, guys. Now, this is a very intricate process. It's going to take some time right off the bat. Please give it between 24 to 48 hours for that to fully synchronize your appointments over. But in terms of new appointments, those should come over pretty quickly. Just, take some time to connect your account, pull in that all that information. Yeah, so please be patient with it. Just leave it. Please don't delete it or anything like that. Just let it do its thing. And it should sort of sort itself out. For heading down next to email integration is another one. This is a really, really big one because it's going to let you utilize your existing email accounts with Top Producer X. So once again, whether you're a Google user, an Outlook user, Yahoo user, pretty much any popular email service, or even if it's not so popular, there is usually a way to get it set up as well. But the big name ones are just directly supported. You just fill in your address, authorize, and then go through the Microsoft login portal or the Google login portal or whatever it is, right? Get your account connected. And then that unlocks all the email features. So you can send emails to your clients through here. You can use email open tracking to see who's opening your emails, who's not. You can send to multiple people at the same time using a group email feature. And you can even schedule emails to go to the later time, individually or as part of drip campaigns and stuff like that. And so main thing though, guys, is this is coming from you. It's not coming from us. So it's all about your email account and just maximum deliverability, right? And people, recognizing who it is that's sending them the emails and everything. So guys, you can add multiple different addresses here if you need to. I recommend starting off with your primary, email that you use for real estate. But if you have sort of like maybe a team admin email that you all share, or like an assistant, you might want to integrate their email address as well. So it's just going to give you more flexibility, allow you to toggle which address you're sending from and which address you're viewing email history for as well. Yeah. And so as you can see, it says running. That's what you'd want to see. That means it's working. If it does briefly slip into something that says needs reauthorization, guys, please do not actually delete it. Just leave it for a little while. It can sometimes do that. Just let it sort itself out and you should be good to go soon. But if it doesn't say running and that other status persists for more than a day or two, that's exactly when you want to reach out to us through the live chat and we can get you some help with that. But usually, yeah, it's pretty smart. It'll sort itself out. After setting up one or more accounts, guys, the sort of natural next step would be setting up your email signature. And so if you come to the email signatures tab and then click right on it here, you'll see that you get this signature editor where you can go ahead and work on your signature. So you can add images, text, you can resize stuff, you can turn things into links, all this kind of good stuff. So if you have an existing signature, please feel free to copy and paste that over. Should be good. If there is some formatting in your signature that just isn't supported in Top Producer, might not copy and paste over, in which case you may need to kind of sort of rework it in here a little bit. If you have a signature that's just sort of one big image, that's an easy one. You would just upload that from your computer directly and just input that image in there and you're good to go. So guys, if you need any help with signatures, two options. I'd say start off with the question mark button up there. Check out the video guide for setting up not only your email, but email signature if you scroll down there. And then also head over to the live chat and we can help you out with that. Up next, lead providers, guys. The lead providers section, this is for any of you that are either paying for online leads or just get even the occasional lead inquiry through your website or something like that. You can actually get those leads directly into your Top Producer CRM without you having to add them manually. And so how this is done, guys, is your CRM has its own lead parsing address here, myleads.io. It's not a regular email. It's simply just to get leads into your CRM from an online lead source. And so this just kind of uses an industry standard real estate kind of protocol thing. You just basically want to copy this address and paste it into the settings for all your lead providers. And this is usually referred to as lead notification or lead forwarding. If you have even just a website, as mentioned, you can get that in there. Let's say you have a website that's managed by a company or your webmaster or whoever it is. You'd likely just want to let them know what this address is and get them to forward your forms to that address, right? But otherwise, most lead sources actually let you do that yourself. I've only encountered a few that don't. So if you want to learn more about that, guys, once again, the question mark button is there for you. And we do have a great little 2-minute, 44-second video walking you through that, where we can even see a really good example of what it would look like to put that address into, in this case, a make believe, but lead provider. All right, folks. And so a couple advantages of that, like I said, one thing, I guess the more obvious thing is that you'll just have that contact in your CRM waiting for you. As soon as you get that inquiry, it's going to be under the new status here. And then, of course, like I said, you want to follow up with them, move them over to engage. But we do have tools to actually help you with that process. And that comes in the form of a lead response plan. And this is a new feature in Top Producer. You can set up your lead response plan to have your back. So if you're busy, if you're out and about, maybe you're just sleeping at the time, someone's browsing at 2 a.m. And they make that lead inquiry, you can have your lead response plan cover you until you are able to tend to that person. And also, some people make a casual inquiry online and then they forget about it, or they just weren't super serious about it, or whatever, right? And so this is also a way to help get them to engage with you, right? To reach out to you, to respond. So like I said, even if you're busy, it's going to send out text messages, emails, and it's going to remind you to give them a call, follow up, and make the most of that lead inquiry. Dad?
Yeah, and what's cool about it is once they reply to you and say, yes, please call me, or no, please stop calling me, right? Either way, as soon as they respond to you, it's automatically going to stop the rest of the scheduled emails and text messages that you've scheduled to automatically send, because it's done its job. It automatically stops because they've responded to your message. So it's really going to increase at least your lead response rate, especially because it's automatic. It's doing it for you. And you can even set it so that it reminds you to call them at a specific time. So not just after a certain amount of days when they came in, or a certain amount of minutes after they came in. If they came in at like 2 o'clock in the morning, as Spencer said, you don't want to have that call 50 minutes later, or 2 minutes, 20 minutes later, right? You'd be calling them at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So you can actually set that call for yourself to do at a specific time. So like 6 o'clock during the dinner time, where most people are, more available to take a call because they've done work, right? So just super excited about this feature. I think it's a real game changer that people that are taking advantage of it, we were getting a lot of positive feedback from.
Absolutely. And it's just included in Top Producer. It's not like it's a paid add-on or anything like that. It's just a part of your Top Producer X CRM. So giving you that huge advantage. And so guys, if you want to learn more, please check out the article that Dan just linked to in the chat. We have a blog post there that will talk about the lead response in a bit more detail. We've talked about it in many of our webinars at this point, and we do have that article as well. So just feel free to take a look at that to learn more. Up next, guys, so we're going to talk about MLS credentials, because this is something that just about anyone can set up. Whether or not you have Market Snapshot, you can still take advantage of some of the great built-in MLS Connect features, such as property insights and transactions. And so if you do have Market Snapshot, however, you will have to set this up first in order to use it. So to get started with this, guys, you just add your MLS credentials, search for your MLS board, and then you need to put in your credentials there. And whatever that might be, and save your credentials. A couple quick tips though, guys. If you cannot get your credentials to validate, you may need to do it in all capitals. Try that out. If you can't find your board in the list here, it might be kind of bundled together with another very similar data feed, or sort of like a vendor name, the sort of general vendor name. But if all else fails, guys, just head over to the live chat and we can look that up for you. We have tons of information on our side we can reference. So we don't want you to get frustrated trying to get your board connected. It is very, very, very specific as to what you have to choose and what you have to input, but for a very good reason, right? Because it is all about security at the end of the day. It is your MLS membership. And MLSs don't give their data feeds to just anyone, right? And so we do have to make sure that's set up very specifically. And it's just a one-time thing. You get it set up, you don't have to worry about it again. So just reach out to us if you're having any issues getting that set up. You can set up multiple boards, as you can see here. So that's just going to give you more flexibility, of course. So when you need to pull listings from one versus another, you can just toggle between the 2 or the 3 that you have, or maybe 4. I think the most I've seen someone have is 4 at once. Yeah, they were probably in California. There's a lot of different boards in California. Yeah. Anyway, guys, after that, if you're a market snapshot user, I just want to point out that you do have the market snapshot settings as well. So in case anyone is not aware, market snapshot is for setting out custom real estate market reports. It's going to kind of, in a nutshell, look like this. Your recipients can browse around this, see available listings, sold listings, whatever you want. You tailor it specifically for that person, so that's actually valuable to them, right? So if you have market snapshot, this is where you go to modify the settings. Since not everyone watching has market snapshot, I'm sure, just make sure if you want to learn more that you click on that question mark button. And once again, guys, you're going to be brought to a quick start video to learn more about market snapshot. Up next, team management. So this is specifically for any brokers or team leaders watching that have just gotten started with Top Producer X. Because let's say you subscribe to not just 1 license, but 5 licenses for your whole team. You're going to have to log into your own primary account first as the account holder. And you have to come to this team management section and create user logins for your team members one at a time. So if you have an available license, there'll be a blue button up here that says add agent. You just want to go ahead and add them one at a time. You can add their name, their phone number, create a username for them. You also create a password for them if it's their your first time making this, and then set the permissions for this team member. And then guys, please note they're not going to be notified about that. You have to relay that information to them yourself, such as the username and password. Get them logged in for the first time. They can always change their password later from the login screen if they need to. You can edit permissions here. You can delete users here and reassign their contacts and tasks if someone leaves the team as well. And so, guys, if you need to learn more about team management, Dan will get a link for you in the chat there about that. Because like I said, this is very specific. It's usually just for teams. So if you're a solo agent using this doesn't really pertain to you. But if you are a team leader or broker that needs additional licenses to get their whole team involved, and you don't have any additional licenses, just let us know in the chat and we can get you some help to talk about how you can add more licenses and the pricing and all that kind of stuff. All right, guys. So texting, last but not least here, we're going to talk about, because this is an absolutely huge feature that just keeps evolving in a very positive way. If you are in the USA, you're going to have access to this feature. If you're watching from Canada or anywhere else other than the USA right now, I do apologize. It is just available in the US at this time. It's texting is a very intricate thing. There's a lot of legal things around it and stuff like that. So at this time, it is only available in the US. But if you are in the US, we do want you to take advantage of this, because what this means for you is free unlimited texting. It means automatically having your text messages documented per contact. And if someone texts you, it's going to notify you on your phone and say you've got a new message from Dan Salcedo in Top Producer X. Click here, and you click on it, and it's going to launch you right to their contact record. So very soon, guys, there is a mobile update for Top Producer X on the way that will allow you to just respond like there as if it were your texting app, basically. And then otherwise, you can also use this for your lead response plans. So we mentioned those really powerful lead response plans just a bit ago. This is going to allow you to have the text messages go out in addition to just emails and call reminders and that kind of thing. And in the chat there, we've got a comment from Renee, and no problem, Renee. We'll get someone to reach out to you about pricing for the team setup. So thank you very much for that. I'll find your contact information. We'll figure it out, and we'll get that someone in contact with you. So guys, just add your regular phone number here. Click Save Texting Setup. It's going to send you a text message asking you to reply with the word confirm. And then after that, just refresh this page in Top Producer, and you are going to get your very own Top Producer X business texting number that you can then advertise. You can put on business cards. You could add to your email signature, pretty much wherever you want, because for all intents and purposes, it is your real estate business number now, basically. Obviously, if you've been doing this for years, it's going to take a little bit of time to maybe sort of integrate that into your business, if you will. But there's plenty of ways to streamline that, especially with the use of texting templates, to really kind of get the word out there, let your clients know, that kind of stuff, and start utilizing that. One really important thing to note, though, as well, guys, is if someone calls that number, it's actually going to route it to your phone. You're not going to miss out any calls. And so I know that's a huge sigh of relief, probably, for anyone wondering. I told a team that the other day, and they were like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yep." So it's yeah, pretty easy to use. And so, guys, that kind of covers all the essentials of the settings. I do want to very briefly mention, though, that, obviously contacts are, one of the main focuses. It's a client relationship management system, right? So, and so there's two main ways to get your contacts into Top Producer. We can't really cover all of it in this show right now, because it is very specific to each person. But what I do want to point out is that we do have a way to import contacts from a spreadsheet, which is kind of the traditional way, if you will. So we do have a quick start video you can check out to cover that. If you click on that question mark, it's going to walk you through that process, even give you some suggestions and some sort of best practices along the way for that. Generally, most spreadsheets from a different system, you can adapt to Top Producer, whether just directly or with a little bit of adjustment to the spreadsheet. Another way is through Contact Sync. This is going to let you connect an email account that has your contacts in it to Top Producer. So if you're a longtime Google user, there's a good chance your contacts from your phone are probably saved in your Google account already. Or if you're an iPhone user, check that iCloud account. It probably has all your contacts in there as well, right? And so in that case, that would be the one you'd likely want to import here, as either a supplement to your existing real estate database that you've imported. Or if you're, let's say, a brand new agent, this would be a great way to get started and kind of build up your database and have something to work with as your sphere of influence and things like that, right? And very important thing to note, guys, though, is if you plan to import contacts from one or more spreadsheets, but you also think, hey, I'd like to bring in contacts from my email account, please hold off on your contact sync until after you finish setting up, or after you finish importing your spreadsheets. Reason for that is because I'm sure most of you have a pretty decent amount of crossover between the contacts in your spreadsheet that were also in your phone or your email account. In that case, just to be safe, guys, you want to avoid those duplicate contacts, right? Contact Sync will actually check for duplicates. Importing contacts will not. And so basically, just to summarize, guys, please import your spreadsheets first. And then only after you're sure you're done that, set up your Contact Sync second if you want to use both. If you don't have a spreadsheet, go ahead and set up that Contact Sync, though.
Yeah, if I can recommend syncing the contacts, I highly recommend that one, because you can sync with your contacts on your phone. So if you have an iPhone, for example, your contacts probably syncing to your iCloud account, right? So if you put in your iCloud email address in the settings here, it will sync your contacts with your phone. So same thing if you have an Android phone, right? Usually an Android phone, you would have a Gmail account. Just put in your Gmail account in here, it'll sync with your Android phone. So I love the contact sync feature. I think it's great.
Yeah, and guys, we actually do have an update coming soon to Top Producer X. That's actually going to synchronize any new contacts you add to your Top Producer automatically to your email account. So right now you can do it manually with a click of a button for one contact, or you can select up to 50 contacts at a time to add to that sync. But like I said, coming soon, guys, we're going to make that easier for you. We're going to automate that a bit and have the option to, and the keyword there is option. We're going to have the option to, so we don't want to just assume you want that. We're going to give you the choice if you want that to happen. So really, really cool. That way you get that brand new lead, your lead response plan triggers, it's going off. And then maybe the person calls you or you go to call them. Guess what? They're already in your phone before you even realized it. So that's going to be amazing. All right, folks. So we're going to head over to our last point for today, which is the follow-up coach. So let's say you've imported some contacts, you want to get started, you're not sure where to start. Maybe you have hundreds or thousands of contacts. Well, the follow-up coach is a 2-in-1 cleanup assistant and follow-up assistant. And so it's something you can pop into every single day, focus on 5 contacts at a time. And I say at a time because you can actually use it for as many as you want a day. There's no daily limit or anything like that. It just should keep you focused. It's just going to simply show you 5 at a time on the screen there. And so if I jump into Top Producer and I go to my contacts page, what I'm going to do is along the top of my sales pipeline here, I'm actually going to go to the follow-up coach. And as you can see, 5 contacts waiting for me here with different follow-up suggestions. So if you are a brand new user, you're going to see a lot of the suggestions saying, schedule a follow-up to ensure imported contacts don't fall through the cracks, because imported contacts will show up in Top Producer the very next day. And so it really wants to urge you to clean up your database, recategorize people, send an email, give them a call, whatever, move on to the next person, right? As you use your Top Producer CRM and use the follow-up coach for weeks or months or whatever, that's going to start to shift into more realistic follow-up suggestions, because now it really knows who people are after you've told it, right? And so very important, guys, as I mentioned at the beginning, contact statuses first and foremost, because this is actually something that the follow-up coach looks at as well. It does look at some particular contact types, such as sphere of influence and past client, but more than anything, it's looking at that status and the last touch. And so, for example, I have Joyce here. Don't lose touch with your closed clients. Yeah, I wouldn't want to forget about this past client, right? It says December 22nd was the last time I did anything, right? But who knows? Maybe that's outdated. Maybe I spoke to them a month ago. Well, I'd at least want to not skip. I'd want to mark done and say, spoke to Joyce last month, and say, September 2020 or something like that, right? And then maybe I realized, we should probably touch base again about something. Last time we spoke, she mentioned that she has a good friend of hers that might be interested in buying soon, and she wanted to recommend me, right? So I could also set a call, follow up on potential referral, and say, let's do that, at the beginning of next month or something, and then save that wrap up. And so just like that, I've used that as an opportunity to tell the CRM that we did indeed speak and schedule my next action, which I can see in the task page there now as well. I can also use this as an opportunity to make sure that I'm being thorough with this contact record. So relationships, do I have anyone in here, or am I missing anyone that I need to add for Joyce? Does she have a partner or whatever that I need to add here? Any emails that I need to tend to or follow up on? Any anniversaries, such as tons of anniversaries I apparently have with this person. So you want to add them in there and just kind of make your way through, make sure their properties are up to date, make sure you send them a market snapshot if you haven't yet. Just be thorough, take this opportunity. And if you're not sure where to start, it doesn't hurt at all to start from the top and go down through the different sections just to make sure you're being thorough. And then after that, you can close that record. That's 1 down. And that's 4 to go. And so, guys, you can use this day to day and make sure that people are being followed up with, make sure that your database is being cleaned up with. And once again, try your best to avoid using that skip button. It's really not going to do you much good, because then that's saying you're taking no action, back to the back to the end of the line for them, basically. And you don't want to forget about them. If they're in the follow-up coach, guys, key thing to remember is they're here for a reason. And this is your opportunity to take action. And so, guys, you do this Monday to Friday. That'd be, maybe 5 a day even. That's 25 contacts a week, 1,500 contacts a year. That's not a small amount. That's something that will help you drive your business. And it's something that's definitely going to give you a competitive edge over other agents that are not doing this. And so highly recommend that, guys. If I can leave you with anything today, contact statuses and follow-up coach will help you out tremendously. And that's about all we have time for today, guys. But before we do fully finish off, I just want to remind you that you can definitely learn more. Check out our support site, topproducer.com/campus. We have our webinar schedule there. You can register for other webinars along the top menu bar. You can even see the previous recording of this show. So check back if you want to, review this video in about an hour or so. You can go down to the drop-down menu, previously recorded, getting started. We have tons of other things. Highly recommend our blog and YouTube page as well. Blog has some great articles. YouTube page has all of our video content on there as well. And guys, if you need any help day to day, just remember you can contact us through the live chat, and we'll be willing to help you out anytime you need. So yeah, so hopefully that gives you some insight into how to best get started with Top Producer X, some of the essentials for setting up your CRM so that's ready for prime time, right? And so that you have integrated it enough into your business that at a moment's notice, you can get the job done, whatever you need to do. And so, guys, make sure you, if possible, join us on Thursdays, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do have a follow-up show to this called 4 Things You Want to Know After You Set Up Top Producer X, where we really dive into some of the features more and show you some day-to-day routines and best practices, tips and tricks, and all that kind of good stuff. But you can also just reach out through live chat anytime as well. All right, folks. Well, if we don't have any questions, we're going to cap it off for today. And it is Friday, so I just want to wish you all a happy Friday. Have a great weekend coming up. I know I'm looking forward to it. And weather is actually, well, I mean, right now it's not great, but it has been surprisingly good to us here in Vancouver, BC, despite it being not summer anymore. So, all right, guys. We will see you next time. This has been Spencer with Top Producers Customer Success Team, joined by Dan here.
Yeah, I just want to add, we have an upcoming webinar. Hopefully you guys like this webinar today. We do have another webinar next week, Wednesday, October 12th, where we're going to talk about all the new updates that we've added to your Top Producer X. So if you just want to learn kind of what's new in Top Producer X as far as features go, that's the next webinar that I would recommend, October 12th. On Wednesday, 10 o'clock Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern. I just shared a link in our chat so you can check our webinar calendar and you can register for that one.
Yes,
so,
guys. Highly recommend that.
It was really nice to meet you guys. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Chantal.
Yeah, thank you very much, you too. Welcome to TPX if this is maybe your first entry into it. Otherwise, guys, hope you have a great weekend. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next time. Make sure to register for that webinar Dan mentioned. It's going to be a good one.